The sheriff's boat barely reached the dock before she started screaming. And honey, she wasn't mad, she was furious. "You can't do this," she yelled. And that's when I realized my quiet little lake had just turned into a full-blown war zone. By the time the sheriff's boat idled to the Silver Huron Cove dock, Marjorie Clean was already shrieking, "You can't just put markers in the lake," she yelled, clutching her laminated HOA binder like it was scripture. Her voice bounced off the water, drawing curious glances from a county inspector in a neon vest and a surveyor with a sun-bleached tripod. I stood on the shoreline, perfectly dry, tapping the survey map on my clipboard. "This is the property line," I told the sheriff, pointing to the fresh stakes about 8 feet into my land and 3 feet past the ordinary high-water mark. The inspector's tablet chimed in. "Confirmation. Dock and the gazebo are entirely on parcel 17B, owned by Marcus Hale," he said, eyes narrowing at me. I nodded. "That's correct." "I also own the lake bed up to 50 feet out," I added, gesturing at the floating markers reading, "Private waters, no trespassing." Marjorie's face drained of color. "This is the Essos Lake," she barked. "It's been a community amenity for years. We've held summer socials here for nearly a decade." The sheriff cleared his throat politely. "Ma'am, tax records and deeds indicate otherwise." "This lake and shoreline belong to Mr. Hale," the surveyor added with barely suppressed amusement. "And the dock?" "No permit on file. Same with the gazebo. I'm Marcus Hale, a quiet man who likes fishing, reading, and perfecting coffee. When I searched for a home, I wanted peace, not neighborly drama. Silver Huron Cove seemed perfect, a small development around a serene lake, kids on paddleboards, retirees on chairs, and a quaint gazebo by the shore. During closing, my attorney slid an extra packet across the table. "This parcel includes the lake, most of the shoreline and water rights," she explained. HOA property was only the streets and some strips along walking paths. People often get confused. "This lake is privately owned, but you're welcome to buy it," she said, a smile hinting at trouble. I closed, paid, and moved in, realizing the HOA brochure had been slightly misleading. The first week passed smoothly. I set up my office, explored the trails, and fished from the bank. Then the HOA emails started. "Unregistered vessel observed. Register your kayak within 7 days," they warned. My $200 Craigslist kayak sat entirely on my property. I replied with deed proof, and soon after, Marjorie appeared at my door, waving my own documents. "Spirit of the community," she said. "You can't wall it off," I smiled and replied. "I'm not walling anything off. I just own it." They escalated quickly. Stakes labeled "No trespassing" became a violation notice. The newsletter featured me as a selfish actor threatening HOA harmony. I installed a trail cam, which caught Marjorie counting my stakes at night. That's when I realized this quiet lake was about to become anything but peaceful, but nothing prepared me for what happened when they decided to hold their summer splash right on my land. 3 weeks before the scheduled summer splash, my attorney, Gwen Yates, sent certified letters that hit the HOA like a thunderclap. One letter demanded the removal of all unpermitted structures, dock, gazebo, retaining walls from my property. It reminded them that the president, Marjorie Clean, had entered my land without permission. Another letter came from the county environmental office, warning of unpermitted shoreline structures and potential buffer violations. A third letter from the tax assessor clarified in no uncertain terms, parcel 17B, including Larks Lake, was mine legally, officially, and indisputably. The HOA board scrambled. Emails flew around like fireworks. "Did we never buy the lake?" begged the treasurer. "I thought the developer donated it." The secretary replied. Marjorie tried to maintain control, but the panic was evident even through her clipped emails. 2 days later, she sent me a message. "Until our council reviews your claims, HOA operations will continue as usual. Remove your no trespassing buoys, they are unsightly." I didn't. Instead, following Gwen's advice, I took 3 careful steps. 1. Placed legally worded boundary signs. Private property parcel. 17B entry by permission only. 2. Filed a formal trespass notice with the sheriff's office, attaching deeds, surveys, and Gwen's letters. 3. Confirmed with the county inspector that I welcomed the shoreline inspection, hoping the unpermitted dock and gazebo would finally be addressed. Then came the morning of the summer splash. My little cove had been transformed into what looked like a miniature festival. Bounce house on my grassy bank. The grill is positioned right next to my property line sign. Balloons tied to unpermitted dock poles. and a huge banner, Silver Huron Cove, Summer Splash HOA. Members only. I sipped my coffee from the back deck, waiting. At 10 a.m., families rolled in, floaties in tow, oblivious that they were stepping onto my land. Marjorie strutted in, wide-brimmed hat and whistle at the ready, radiating authority. "This is our lake," she announced. Some guests hesitated, but most assumed she was right. That's when the sheriff's SUV and the county inspector's truck arrived, followed by Gwen in her Subaru, folder in hand and a poster board ready. "Morning," the sheriff called. "Can I speak to the event organizer?" Marjorie stepped forward, confident. "I am the president of the association." "Is there an issue?" "Yes," the sheriff said. Gwen flipped the poster board, showing neon-highlighted boundaries. "This dock, gazebo, and shoreline are on parcel 17B owned by Mr. Marcus Hale," the inspector chimed in. Confirming the violation, a hush fell over the crowd. Parents collected children, chairs were folded, and the DJ quietly packed up. Marjorie's empire built over years was evacuating my property in real time, but even after that dramatic morning, the fight wasn't over. The fines, the legal fallout, and the HOS desperate moves were just beginning. The aftermath of the summer splash was immediate and chaotic for the Gwen calmly handed Marjorie a draft complaint, along with the trespass notice and violation forms. The county inspector issued fines for the unpermitted dock and gazebo, $150 per day, escalating until removal. By the end of the week, the total fines had ballooned to $8,700, and the HOA's insurance refused coverage. The board faced an emergency special assessment of $400 per household just to cover the legal mess. Marjorie, once confident and authoritative, was now trembling in her folding chair at the emergency meeting. Homeowners, armed with the facts and the letters from the county and Gwen, demanded answers. The vote was swift and decisive, 162, in favor of removing her from all positions and barring her from future office. "Illegal," she shouted, voice cracking, but the room had moved past her theatrics. She had underestimated quiet determination and clear legal ownership. The residents, now aware of the truth, realized they had been misled about lake ownership for nearly a decade. Meanwhile, I took a step back, watching the HOA scramble to recover. The dock and gazebo, once symbols of assumed control, were now marked for immediate removal. Families slowly returned to the parts of the lake actually owned by the HOA, while my shoreline remained peacefully private. The bounce house was gone, grills packed, and the DJ quietly unplugged, leaving the lake in calm, undisturbed quiet. Exactly as I had hoped when I first moved in, life returned to normal. I fished from the bank, read my books, and perfected my coffee-making experiments. The HOA had learned a valuable lesson: property, deeds, and legal boundaries matter more than tradition or community spirit. Marjorie's removal became a cautionary tale among Silver Huron Cove residents, and the lake finally reflected its true ownership. Even with all the legal battles and dramatic confrontations, I didn't feel victorious because I wanted conflict. I felt victorious because order had returned to my property, and my peace of mind had been restored. And as the sun set over Larks Lake, I realized one thing sometimes: owning the truth is more powerful than any committee, rule, or tradition. If you enjoyed this story of justice, drama, and a homeowner standing up for what's right, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who loves a good underdog victory. You won't want to miss the next unbelievable story from Silver Huron Cove.